Well, now we're live. Siri Opli, welcome to the Art of Pausing, my chat show, all about really the simple things that we can do to help ourselves experience a happier state of being, our happier daily life. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome, Amanda, and thank you for having me. This is going to be so nice. Nice to
It's
see
good.
you.
I've been so looking forward to it because although we've known each other online probably for, I don't know, a year or two maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know, and but actually have never spoken. So this is just a complete joy to have you here and to be able to find out a little bit more about you, and and I just have a sense that you'd be a fantastic person to have on the show. But before I go any further, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your background and what you're doing now, and yes,
Mm.
bring us up to
How,
date.
how how far back do you want me to go?
Oh, just a little brief summary would be lovely, just so that
Okay.
we can. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, as I'm sure there's somebody who don't know me at all, so I'm going to say that I'm Norwegian, although it doesn't sound like that. I'm very fluent in English. I've heard my British is very British, so that's funny. I was born in the southern parts of Norway, but I live up north above the Arctic Circle, where it's fabulous lighting these days with midnight sun and summertime. So it's very good to be an artist like I am. I was educated as a teacher, but my soul pulled my physical body into a state where working normal days, sorry, from 9 to 5 approximately didn't work for me very well, because then I had to leave the painting behind, and there was too much scheduling and evaluation and meetings and stuff like that. So I got very, very sick. And now I'm a full-time artist, which I thoroughly enjoy. And I have 5 children, and I am the illustrator of Tom Evans's book, Just for Today, and I am in the group Soul Waves, and I have my own artist world up here in Norway, which is working that it's not working. It's going more abroad than to Norway. Basically, I'm also a meditation guide on Insight Timer, so I'm very what do you call it, worldwide in the way I create.
That's
So
wonderful.
mm,
Quite diverse in what you're up to now.
mm,
So, with bearing in mind the theme of, or my general theme of really exploring potential actually is what it is, and the little things, because in my work I find that people are not aware of so many of the simple little things that we can do daily, that if we do them repeatedly they become habits, really lift our experience of our daily lives remarkably, really effectively. And I would love you to share with us both what you do with for yourself with regard to this, and then maybe we could move on to thinking about how you do this in your work world as well.
mm. Being an artist, I can remember all my life I've been sitting down and drawing and writing. And my first tiny book was published in a chair in our home when I was 4.5 years old. I
Oh wow!
I created a story about a Norwegian girl called Kari, and she went out fishing, and the story went on about 4 pages and was tied together with a string. So that's the very beginning of the author and illustrator series. And recalling that feeling of sitting there and drawing and writing, I was very early in learning how to read and write, I think. So the feeling of, like, in the group yesterday that Tom said, the great feeling of nothing, no thought. Remember that?
I didn't
Yes.
see that one actually. I'm
Oh, you
afraid I
didn't?
missed that
No.
one.
I was trying to draw some. Yeah, no, never mind. It's about the feeling of thoughtlessness that you get when you sit and do something, and you get all caught up in what you're doing. It's like you're in a trance in some way. And then there is also this immense peace that comes along with doing things that feeds your soul, basically. So when I draw and paint, I don't know where my mind is. My soul is coming through my hands and onto the paper, and then my eye obviously can see it, but it gives this circular feeling of peace that has no need for words. And I've been doing that since I can remember, not when I started, but as a 4-year-old, I might have started that and find myself in this personal space that is so valuable, especially these days when we need to go back to finding our inner peace. And it's also been said that it is like a meditation. So when I paint, I feel like I'm meditating. So that's why I create meditative art. So basically the feeling that I channel through my art down onto the paper, it stays there, and I can retract from it and go do another painting. But also I've been told that when people watch me paint, that is giving them the same feeling of thoughtlessness and meditational feeling that I have when I create it. So that's the one trick I want to, and that's my purpose too, to show the world how simple it is to go back into yourself and leave the world behind. And then I can relate now in these times we are in now and have been for 2-3 months, that the lockdown and stuff like that, you need to, and you have been given this fantastic opportunity to go inwards and really dive into yourself and pour it onto the paper or the canvas or the food or anything that you create without a thought. You just intuitively channel it into physical form. So that's basically what I do. I always collected pens and pencils, and I ended up with a huge box and a drawer full. And I suddenly realized that, oh, wow, that's because you always like to draw and paint and write. Go do that and nothing else. And that's what you're here to do. So also to show that there's a simplicity in just following your soul, basically, and being at peace. That's what we're here for. And if we're inner peace, then outer peace comes, like Dalai Lama said. So this is basically following yourself and what you want to do, and live in that inner peace. That's what I want to share with the world. Yes,
I think you're so right, and that so you've got this this aspect of flow, which you're allowing for everything to come into the paper. But also, you know, when people watch, having watched you on your Facebook, you know, on a Facebook page, watching you create, you know, you as a viewer, you get that sense of flow and wonder, actually. From and I'm the only for me. Now, I don't know whether you've ever met anybody like me before. You are actually looking at somebody who was told to give up art at school. So for me, it's absolutely magical to watch somebody actually create, you know, be it sculpture or painting or drawing. I'm in complete awe of that. But and so there's a sense of wonder because it's something that is not something that comes naturally to me, which makes it even more special to me, I feel. But it's the other thing I think that is very key here, and that I talk about a lot, is that you can't go wrong when you're following your inner guidance. You know, we have these internal traffic lights, don't we? The head brain, the heart brain, the gut brain, you know, we have them. And, you know, we can easily miss, if we're too busy in our heads, we can miss their little sort of, you know, flips of information. But actually, you can't go wrong if you follow them. And that then allows you, if you follow them, I think, because you're then doing what, you know, is what you've referred to as your purpose, you know, what you're here for, then actually we are far more useful as human beings, because we are holding that space and using our talents and skills, whatever they might be, to their fullest, which means that then we give to our fullest as well. And it's I remember years ago, before I got into this whole kind of holistic world, that I think I'd have thought it was selfish to that whole kind of self-care thing, but actually it's vital for everything to flow and for us to be well and for us to be as giving as we can be.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So, from your experience, having been a teacher and then, discovered that really wasn't for you in the way that it manifested physically, now look at the impact you have on the world, with your fabulous illustrations of all Tom Evans's work and your own artwork and your your work with people. It's huge, isn't it? Having the courage to follow that, but then what happens when you do that is just beyond words, actually, isn't it?
It's very interesting that you should open up and share that you were told not to do art, because I created my Drawing It Out program from that very notion that people were told as children, maybe if they shouldn't sing or shouldn't paint or that were bad at something, then we stop. Actually, we stop to do what we're told not to do, or we don't. And the Drawing It Out course is not a drawing program, as it seems like it is, but it isn't. It's all about getting that very personal space and inner peace that you sit down with your paper and your pen and no audience at all. I don't even need to see your painting or drawing, just you. And then for 12 sessions, you go through a process of recreating your mind and your fantasy and your inner peace, so that you know that you're good enough as you are and that your purpose, like you said, is to be you, and that's nobody else's business. So that's what Drawing It Out is about.
Absolutely.
And you can read more about that on siriopli.com. So having said that, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
No, but this is just it's just such a wonderful way to access yourself for people, isn't it? All you need is a pencil and a bit of paper. Pencil on the back of an envelope. It's not something that you need to, it's just what a fantastic gift. And what kind of realizations do people share with you after they've completed the course?
It's basically the feeling of having come to realize that it's inside the piece is and not outside, because people have tried to look for help and reassurance and peace somewhere else instead of looking inwards, and they didn't know that it came from inside. So it's been surprising, it's been challenging, and it's also very it requires a certain portion of guts, really, to do this, because it's very private, and you need to really get undressed, so to speak, metaphorically, and really get to know yourself. And it's not for everyone.
No, I think a fear response to that would be quite normal for many people, actually. Yeah, you'd need to be ready for it, wouldn't you? Wanting to take that step. Yeah.
Yes, but it's very, very easy in one way, but then again, in another way, not so easy. But I will be there all the way, and guiding and answering and stay putting questions into the space to help. But it's totally up to one person, and that's the participant of the course. So you're very welcome to be a Drawing It Out pupil if you want to. I would love to do you.
I'm very tempted. Oh, Siri, I think my summer plan has just changed. Yes.
That's good. You're welcome anytime.
And you're also a meditation guide. So do you use meditation yourself as well? Obviously.
Yes, I do. I tend to switch between the listening to the music meditation and obviously the painting and drawing meditation. So I tend now to find that my whole life has turned into a meditation, that I'm
Mm.
very aware of everything. Being an artist, I always have been, of course, but it's more about uh, popping into the meditational way of seeing things, that just accepting things like they are and realizing that what's important is actually inside all the time. But I use meditation and I have listened to every meditation that Tom has made, and I have now my own publishing and my own meditation guide on
Which is
Insight
wonderful. I mean,
Timer. So you can find me there. And I'm also the voice in Soul Waves tracks from Tom Evans, which I'm very proud that he would want to use my voice for. So you can always listen to that after this.
yes, I've listened to one of them, and I have to say it was absolutely wonderful.
Yes, it's
So it strikes me that actually a lot of this as well is really enabling people to not only to get in touch with themselves, but also to be present in the current moment, in the now. Because
mm,
actually that's a real trick too, isn't it? Just being able
yeah.
to do that, then everything else, well, what's the
It
problem?
falls into place. Yeah.
Mm.
Actually, one of my meditations is called All is Now. And now is all we have. So this now is also all we have. So it's very important to listen to this and just
Mm.
to realize that, yes, it's no wrongs and no rights in
Yeah,
life. So,
it's true, isn't it? I mean, if you ask somebody, well, so how are you right now?
mm,
And they say fine, and I say, okay, so in 5 minutes' time, when I ask you that question again, how are you right now? And the answer's still fine. Well, we have is a series of nows, isn't it?
mm,
And actually looking at things from that way is very relieving of pressure. Yeah,
mm, it is.
yeah.
So
So, Siri, sorry, yes, carry on.
yeah, I was just going to say that I of all people, know very much about overthinking and what bad things that can do. So, what I do is drop thinking because I can't think when I draw or paint. Because then, if I try to control what I'm going to create or channel, then it's ruined. So that's mostly like life is. There's no user manual and there's no manuscript. You just have to follow the
No.
flow. Luckily, it isn't. So, and happily, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in some sort of way.
Yeah, absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. So, Siri, what do you do to pause yourself? Apart from your drawing and your painting and your art,
Yeah,
mm,
yeah. That's a very good question because my brain is wired to constantly be attracting things to look at. I'm very visual, and basically, I need to close my eyes and breathe. And also, obviously, that turns into some kind of meditation. So, listening to music is very, very good for me. And also, doing something is pausing for me because I'm not the person to lie down on the bed and sleep when I need to pause. Then I need to be totally physically exhausted, which I seldom are because I am because I tend to do something all the day, and then when night comes, I go out like a light. So it's very good that way. But when I need to pause, I need to retract and be by myself. And then obviously my art is where I tend to go. And if I can't pause, then it will be too much for me. So I don't know how else to describe that. I need to
mm.
go into my art, into being me alone, which is not alone, basically. With my pens. Hmm.
Is your pens, your lovely collection of
Yes.
pens?
Pen
Yes,
pause, yes.
pen pause.
Mm. And I
Oh,
also refer to myself as a pencil, not a pencil, but a pencil. That's who I am.
pencil. Oh, well,
Mm.
that sounds like the perfect note to finish on. Siri, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, is your
Mm.
website the best place, which we can see on the screen there?
Yeah,
SiriOpli.com.
siriopli.com and an email at siri@siriopli.com is the easiest way to contact me. Or on Messenger, Facebook, and Instagram, of course. I am there too, so it's easy to find me. And thank you
That's
so much for having me, Amanda. It's been lovely.
It's been an absolute delight. Siri, thank you so much.
Yes, and I hope to see you on the Drawing It Out program.
I would love to do that.
Yes,
Thank you
let's
so
have a
much,
chat.
Siri.
Yes, have a nice time.
You too. Goodbye.
Yes, goodbye.